So, Teck Kwang, what were the circumstances? You've explained a little bit about the length of time and everything like that, but share more
Yeah,
about
yeah.
what you
So,
learned from that
so
process.
yeah, so I think a couple of insights for me. First thing is a PSP, a strategic planning process, a full process takes a long time. And I noticed that it's really hard to get clients to give me that time now. So nobody can afford 3 days. They shut down all the operations, bring everybody together, and then you do a strategic planning with them. Sometimes, when I speak to normally the head of department, they tell me, Teck Kwang is not the cost of engaging you. It's the cost of not running our operations, which is like a lot higher than engaging you. So yeah, I understand that challenge that they have, and it's very tough to close operations just to do like a planning. So I noticed that that is their constraint. But when I speak to the normally the head of department or the boss or the director, like what if we split it apart? They seem a lot more open. So and I also noticed, especially with everything going virtual, sometimes a full day retreat, it's really very, very tiring, very intense. So why don't we have a half a day? I think it's okay. So if it's half the day, they can arrange work in such a way. We can have conversations in the morning. They can close for half a day, or they push work away for half a day. And then the second half, they can still continue with the work, right? So literally the department, the functions are still operating. So with that in mind, actually, I'm able to space out more time with them. They have more conversations. And only the one where we need everybody together do we kind of like close the operations for a full day. Yeah, that's where the bulk of the work is happening. But I noticed the pre-retreat, the post-retreats, they when we space it out, it also gives time for people to think through. What I noticed in the past is when we have very intense retreat, 2 days back to back, sometimes after conversations, they go back, they think about it. Yeah, I never think of this. I never think of that. I think we forgot this. So they might need to tweak it a second round. But then when I use this approach, for example, between pre-retreat to the main retreat, my suggestion now is 2 to 3 weeks. So when we finish the pre-retreat, like we have the environment scans, we have time to document it. We have time to circulate to all the head of departments. They kind of understand it. So when we come back from the main retreat, everybody is a lot more prepared. They have seen it maybe the second or third time. So that gives us some time to sit on things a little bit. And sometimes I notice when we give them time, the head of department goes back, they look at the data, and then they share with me their reflection as well, which is, I think, really powerful. That's the whole purpose of retreat planning, right? So our role is to facilitate them, to facilitate their thinking. And if the leaders take personal accountability, they reflect on it, and then they feel, yeah, yeah, this is great. This is where we should go. I think half the work is done. Yeah. So for me, that spacing it apart, I felt has a lot of power.
Mm.
Yeah, the other thing is I notice as I space it apart, I can have more conversation with the management team. So I think I noticed something interesting actually through doing like a couple projects like this. As I work with them, I notice every leader has a slightly different style. So I also do some leadership development program at Civil Service College in Singapore. And one of the things that we do sometimes is as we observe how the group is, we gently share our observations back to the leaders or the leadership team and allow them to understand what dynamics they are working with, what is their style of leadership. And then we ask them, like, is this okay for you? Is this not okay for you? What do you think? So then, like this specific client I was working with, I noticed very, very collaborative. So much so that it feels like when we do strategic planning, who is doing the planning? Is it everybody planning? Or does the leader, which is the head of department, does the head of department has a say in it? It feels like this head of department relinquished all responsibility. So I was a little bit shocked. No, no, I wouldn't say shocked. I really like the collaborative approach, but I felt that I needed to bring in the conversation, to which level of collaboration do you want to look at? Is it everybody says something and then that decision is made? or everybody says something, but the management, still think about it and make a decision, or or sometimes decide, we don't need to hear from you. We make the decision, but we have conversation with you on how to deploy. I mean, they are all different modalities of facilitation, but I thought it's good that sometimes as the planning comes about, I have a conversation with them, check in with them, and then we work. I think I prefer to work with their comfort level. So it becomes a facilitated conversation plus facilitated planning. So I think that's how my practice have been evolving a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like you're able to pay attention to the subtle cues and changes and shifts in their thinking because you had more time, and also to bring in where you're seeing, as you said, somebody who had appeared to have abandoned their responsibility.
Yeah, I think that, however, this is very different from our training in a PSP in facilitation. I think I combine a few things.
Yeah.
That's
I think
what I've been evolving.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I think that's great that we're all adapting and evolving, because obviously our clients need different things. And what is the heart of what we need? And the heart is to have people listen to each other and to inform and influence each other and to feel excited about their future and to feel hopeful and feel the opportunities and possibilities of moving forward, not get blocked, because you don't want a strategic plan, the classic sit on the shelf doing nothing. So